Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time. I'm going to be using Pretty Pink Posh Boo. I found a card that used this coloring method that I'm going to be showing you. And so I wanted to reach for this set. I used this one last year, I believe, when I did a video every day. There was one point in time where I thought I owned it because why wouldn't I buy this? And then I found out I never bought it. It was very strange. And so then I had to buy it. I think that was last year or the year before. Anyway, one pass with the ink was good enough. And then I was trying my little video magic tricks to cut that out. I had to go over to my Spellbinders cutting machine. And because I have the memory of a goldfish, I have to, again, look at the candy corn to remember what order the color is in. And then I'm going to be using ice gray shades for the bats. I think for each of these icons on here, there was at least one on each letter. And then two of the letters had either two or three of the things. So every letter got at least one of like bat, pumpkin, ghost, candy corn, skull face, bone, witch hat, candy, and leaves, I believe. Leaves, I should say. So I sped this up. I think it's at 2.3x because of all of the little coloring. And I didn't want this to be super, super long. Again, if you are watching every day in October, I don't want you to have to sit through like half-an-hour videos every day. There will be maybe some half-hour videos, but as long as I can speed it up and do a voiceover, then that can shorten it down a little bit. So because these are tiny images, I'm just kind of reaching for single color Copics. I will do a 2-color blend on the pumpkins because there's a little more space there. But everything else, except for the bats, which I did the tri-blend, is going to get kind of a one color situation. And then with the bats, or the ghosts, sorry, I'm just outlining their edge with BG10, as I have in the past few days or so with ghosts. I think that's my go-to, except I did see a card on Pinterest that used the new stamp set from Lawn Fun, the ones with the strips, Simply Celebrate Fall. And so it's got like the pumpkin strip, the ghost strip. The rest is kind of escaping me at the moment. But anyway, it had like 3 rows of the ghosts, and the outline was actually pretty interesting. I might try it when I color those in. The outline, like I did here in the blue, the BG10, was like a dark gray and then blended out with a little light gray, kind of like diffused out with a light gray, but still only the inner outline. And it actually looked really good, so I might try that with that stamp set. For my leaves, I'm doing red and then an orange. And I believe I showed you every marker before I used it. So I was just kind of alternating the orange leaf and the red leaf. And then using N0, I know I wanted something light, and it even dries a little bit lighter, so I do go over these a second time for most of them. But for the skull, all the skulls and the bones, I just used N0. And then just using the light end, or the mid blend color of the Hydrangea blend, which isn't a great combo in the tri-blends. It doesn't really blend that well. Like the colors are just kind of off. And so I just used one of the colors because I wasn't going to blend it anyway. And I figured light purple would be safe for the coloring effect that I'll be doing at the end. I think I'm done. Oh no, I have to color the candies still. So for the little candies, I'm just kind of alternating between the darkest of the tri-blend and the light end of the tri-blend. So when I have something like this, I always use on the tri-blends the dark end and then the light end, and just forget about the mid when I just need two alternating colors. And there were only a few candies. Oh, and then there's a bunch of tiny little circle dots. So I just filled them all in with this teal, the dark end of the green turquoise blend, because it's one of my favorite teal blends out of these markers. So I just decided to fill in all of the circles with the same color, and all it took was just a little dab or a dot to do that. And then now we're done. So what I'm going to do is take V17, and I was seeing if it was as dark as I wanted it to be. I almost went with V09, and I'm telling you, I'm only going to be doing one of these because it takes so long. I'm not going to make you sit through me doing this 3 times. And you also can't really see what I'm doing because my fingers are covering it anyway. But going around everything and coloring the background purple. The card that I saw, when I first saw it, whenever I look at cards, I usually dissect, and I usually can figure out, like, okay, how did they do this? That's just kind of like the card maker skill that you get over time. You can look at a card and figure out the technique or whatever they did. But I looked at a card that had essentially this, the items all colored in, and then a purple background, and I was like, is that purple paper? And then they used like opaque colored pencils or something to fill in the images or some, I don't know. My brain just went somewhere weird. And then I was like, oh, they colored in the background with a marker, a purple marker, and it looked really neat. And so I decided to also do that. And yeah, so, but it turns out really good. It's just a lot of very careful coloring around all of these items. With the Copic brush tip, it's actually not too difficult because it's a very good quality brush tip. And so it was pretty easy to not run into the other items. I think I colored over a couple small points, but aside from that, I did okay. And then you can color the edges. This is why I'm doing this on printer paper, obviously. But you can color down the sides and down the middle like I'm doing right here. And I think I did it off camera, but basically you just take your marker and you run the side of the marker, like pick up the letter and angle it, and then run the side of your marker down the side of the die cut, so that when you do stick it down to a card with like a dark background, like I'm going to, the white sides don't like pop out. You want to make sure you've covered it all in the dark purple. So that's what one of them looks like. It turned out super cute. I love purple as a Halloween color. It is one of the greatest things whoever did that came up with, whenever purple became one of them. And then I cut out my handy dandy wonky stitched stacks from MFT, the biggest one, which is not as big as a card base, but almost as big as a card base. And then for the sentiment, I am going to emboss with white. I think it says Happy Halloween to you. I'm just going to use an acrylic block because this ink is very sticky and it doesn't really need a second pass. So I just decided to be very careful with stamping that. And then it actually, the powder covered it perfectly. I kept getting powder on the black background where I didn't want it, even though I thought I brushed it all away. But oh well. And then I'm just heating my gun up for I usually only do about 10 seconds before it's good to start melting. Probably could have been longer. I was watching this YouTube video once where this woman, she has like a silicone desk holster where you just kind of stick it on the edge of your desk and it hangs off. And she put her running heat gun in it and just left it there running while she was crafting, like to keep it hot. And I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I know that the silicone is for like hot tools and stuff, but like it was running during her video. And I was like, are you trying to start a fire? I was baffled. I would never leave a heat tool running when I'm not using it. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Do you do that? Please tell me if you're crazy. And then I decided I didn't want to mess with liquid glue today at all. And so I decided to, if my die cuts are big enough, I just use my tape runner. Because it's actually pretty thin. It's like 1/4 of an inch wide. It's not that bad. And even if it is pretty small, I'm just using the block to line it up straight. And I do the same with the bee. Even if it's smaller, I'll run the tape runner on the back, and then you just can like smush the glue into place. If you don't feel like using actual glue, you can use tape runner tape. So that's it. That's all I'm doing, and it's very cute. And thank you for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. Bye.